Remembering Leo Frank. When 3 white men were found guilty in November 2021 of killing Ahmaud Arbery, a black man who was jogging in Georgia, many people felt a sense of relief. It was a rare moment of justice in a state that has a dark history of racial violence and discrimination. Along the way, the case conjured up images of America's long history of lynching, where citizens took the law into their own hands, meting out revenge, or so-called justice, against those the mob considered guilty. In the long history of lynching in America, the mobs were often white, and the persecuted were usually black. This is the story of Leo Frank, the Jewish manager of a pencil factory in Atlanta, in Georgia. He was arrested and convicted of the brutal murder of 13-year-old Mary Fagan in 1913, despite the fact that he had a solid alibi and no evidence connecting him to the crime. But anti-Jewish hatred in Georgia was at the time almost as rampant as anti-black hatred. In another history-making trial in a Georgia courtroom, one that provoked outcries of injustice and religious and ethnic hatred on par with the protests that have rocked our nation in recent years, the mob attacked and lynched the Jewish man, exposing the ugly face of anti-Semitism. Sentenced to death, Frank's punishment was commuted by the governor of Georgia, who didn't want to be remembered as a modern-day Pontius Pilate, sending another innocent Jew, Jesus, to die on the cross. But in the only recorded lynching of a Jewish person in U.S. history, a frenzied crowd broke into the jail, grabbed Frank, and sentenced him to death by hanging, even though he was innocent of the crime. Leo Frank was denied justice during his lifetime, but in 1986, the state of Georgia finally granted Frank a posthumous pardon. His name is still a reminder of one of the worst cases of injustice and hatred in American history. That's why our National Anti-Lynching Memorial, which honors the hundreds of black men who were killed by vigilantes, also includes the name of Leo Frank. He was a victim of the same evil that killed Ahmaud Arbery and many others.